Ford Model T. There aren't enough words to describe the importance of the Ford Model T in automotive history and in car culture overall. This classic single-handedly created the car world in 1908. The Model T was the first truly mass-produced automobile, with Ford building over 15 million until 1927. This car motorized the world and created a foundation for the modern car industry with assembly plants in many foreign countries. Also, the Ford Model T was the first car produced in numerous versions. In fact, Ford designed it so owners could easily transform it into a truck, agricultural machine, or even a military vehicle. The Model T helped the Ford Motor Company become the biggest car manufacturer in the world at one point. But the Model T wasn't so revolutionary in terms of design or technology. It wasn't an advanced car, but more of a utilitarian machine. When Ford debuted the Model T back in 1908, the world was still using horse-drawn carriages. However, by the time they discontinued it in 1927, the automobile age had begun. 1953, Chevrolet Corvette. The introduction of the Corvette was big automotive news for 1953 since nobody expected Chevrolet to build such an exotic car. All of a sudden, there was a new roadster with incredible features. Despite that fact, the first Corvette was a well-designed, well-executed model. The most interesting thing about the new Corvette was the fiberglass body. Back in the early 50s, plastic was still the material of the future. The Corvette was the first car with a fully plastic body, making Chevrolet one of the pioneers of fiberglass construction. This incredible innovation gave the Corvette its lightweight construction, and from that day, they've made the Vette body out of fiberglass. With the price of $3,490 in the 1953 Corvette was pricey, yet it was more affordable than a Jaguar XK120 or a Ferrari 166. However, despite the interest from the public the first year, they only made 300 Corvettes. However, the 1953 Corvette marked the start of American sports car production. Better yet, it was one of the most successful U.S. nameplates ever produced. Cord 810 and 812. Errit Laban Cord was a successful car salesman who had a dream of building cars under his own name. So, in 1929, he established his company and introduced the first model named the L29. The philosophy behind Cord cars was simple: offer advanced technology, powerful engines, and gorgeous designs, which is exactly what he did. The L29 had one especially interesting feature: front-wheel drive. In those days, a front-wheel drive layout was unheard of, and Cord was the only manufacturer in the world with this drivetrain. The most famous Cord was definitely the 810 and 812. It featured Art Deco styling, front-wheel drive, and powerful V8 engines. At that time, this was the most advanced American production car with V8 power, front-wheel drive, an independent front suspension, and hidden headlights. The car featured many industry firsts and established itself as one of the most revolutionary American cars of all time. Unfortunately, the market was not ready for such an advanced automobile, so sales were disappointing. Cord closed their doors in the late 1930s. 1932, Ford. Even though the 32 Ford was just a regular, mass-produced, everyday car, it changed automotive history forever. It became one of the most influential American machines due to a rather simple engine option, the flathead V8, one of the best engines of the 20th century. It was Ford's simple but effective 3.6-liter V8 engine, producing just 65 horsepower at the beginning of the production. Even though other car makers offered V8 engines in their models, Ford's design proved to be the best. Soon it became the definitive engine for anybody looking for power in an affordable package. Hot rodders learned the flathead V8 had serious tuning potential, so all 32 Fords became the favorite base for all kinds of modifications. The 32 Ford with the infamous flathead V8 engine was one of the most revolutionary American cars since it introduced V8 power to a larger market. In fact, it established the V8 engine as one of the most recognizable features of the U.S. car industry. Tucker Torpedo. The Tucker Car Company began in the late 1940s. Soon, they presented a fully functioning prototype that made the rest of the cars from Detroit look outdated. The Tucker torpedo featured numerous innovations, including safety glass and a central headlight that followed the movement of the steering wheel. Also, it had a roomy interior, and the engine was in the back, providing lots of power and torque. Basically, the Tucker torpedo was so advanced that the big three, Chrysler, Ford, and GM, were afraid it would cripple their market share. So while Tucker prepared for full-scale production, the big three prepared a lawsuit to stop production and sink the company. Unfortunately, they succeeded, so Preston only built between 48 and 51 torpedoes. Today, almost all new cars feature some of the innovations that Tucker premiered in the late 40s. And although Tucker didn't have an effect on the market, it was one of the most American advanced cars in the world, as well as an example of the dark side of the car business. AMC Eagle. It's interesting to see how some manufacturers were so ahead of their time, their products have received recognition long after they were gone from the market. And one of those manufacturers is the American Motors Company. Always flirting with bankruptcy, AMC was forced to present new concepts to stay profitable. One of those experiments was the Eagle, a passenger car lineup with Jeep-derived all-wheel drive and off-road capabilities. Best of all, it came in the form of a regular sedan, wagon, and even a coupe or convertible, all with all-wheel drive standard. Conceived in the late 70s, the Eagle was AMC's answer to the rising popularity of all-wheel drive vehicles and SUVs. It had the comfort and luxury of a sedan, yet with compact dimensions and relatively low weight. Also, it had extremely good off-road characteristics. The Eagle was one of the first, if not the first, crossover models in the world. Only today can most people see how important and influential this car really was. The Eagle was a relatively popular car, especially in areas with harsh climates and long winters. Unfortunately, AMC was losing money elsewhere, so they were forced out of business in 1987. Jeep Wagoneer. The current SUVs are bloated sedans that offer little to no off-road performance. On the other hand, the Jeep Wagoneer is quite luxurious, includes an enormous amount of space, and offers respectable off-road skills. And all that makes the Wagoneer the ultimate vintage luxury off-road vehicle. The fact that they produced it from 1963 all the way to 1991 with just a few tweaks is proof of its quality. Jeep never meant this vehicle to be a car for the streets, but rather for navigating through ranches, fields, and mountain trails. The Wagoneer got its power from numerous inline-6 and V8 engines. Also, it had both rear-wheel and all-wheel drive. The most coveted models came from the 1987 to 1991 Chrysler era, when the car went through a series of upgrades. With air conditioning, high-quality audio, comfortable power seats, chrome, and optional woodwork, the Wagoneer is a well-equipped car. Many agree the Wagoneer was the first proper SUV and the daddy of all modern SUVs. Ford Mustang. The love affair between car enthusiasts and the Mustang has lasted over 50 years. Ever since they unveiled the first Mustang in April 1964, people haven't been able to get enough of Detroit's most famous pony car. Over the years, Ford has produced over 9 million Mustangs, making it one of the most successful nameplates in the car industry. The Mustang is a mix of great performance with a V8 engine rumble, a touch of luxury, and good looks. Ford packed it in an affordable package with a long list of options. The Mustang wasn't revolutionary in the technical sense, since it was just an ordinary Ford Falcon with a fancy body, but they designed and presented its package so perfectly, it caused a sensation. The first Mustang was so successful it started a new class of American cars they still call pony cars. Also, it entered the history books as one of the best first-year car sales of all times. Over the years, the Mustang has become the automotive symbol of America. But most of all, it is one of the finest, most respected products worldwide.